Hey there, I'm Jack Droppers. I am the Director of Student Activities here at Calvin University. I'm so excited that you are here watching our YouTube channel. We are about to embark on a mini concert and conversation. We'll have 3 songs performed, and then we will have a conversation with the artist. I hope that you enjoy these conversations as they invite us to reimagine our own humanity through art. So enjoy.
She walks into the door. She's creeping on the floor, saying, when are you gonna do something? Can't keep rolling out of bed, leaving you and your messy head, telling me something's coming. What if it doesn't? We still got each other, and I know I always say that. So why do you even bother? And you're slowly fading, and you're slowly breaking. Together, alone. Think I'll take a bath, think about what I have, and wash off some mental illness. Petrified when I get out, you'll be sitting down and wanting to talk about later. What if you're still getting groceries? 'Cause you know I hate shopping, and you know I'm always like this. I get lost in your freezer, and we're slowly fading, and we'll slowly make it together alone, together home. Woke to my room, bitter cold. The smell of you still on the shows of my hands. You told me you'd be leaving, gonna be either me or you. When I'm out here on the road, hangover hair and a pack of smokes burning my shirt, wondering if I'm going crazy or if I look that rough. Standing in the mirror, no one can call my blood. Juliana, it was over when you said, have the boys come over, quoting the good book you told me I should have read. It has to come easy, or it has to come cheap, 'cause time's the only resource that we really need, you and me. Think I saw a demon in your blouse, crying and wailing through your house that I got you. But a house might be too generous, oh, you always made a home where I could lay my head and not let my mind roam. To the bloody battles of my youth, one-hitters and serums that I never used right. Telling me lately you think I'm seeing through your eyes, but something just don't fit, so I close them tight. Juliana, it was over when you said, have the boys come over, quoting the good book you told me you should have read. It has to come easy, or it has to come cheap, 'cause time's the only resource that we really need, you and me. Try another round, it might make you feel alright. Lay your foot, sit down and let it hollow out your insides. But when the sun came up, you saw your dad. So much wasted time, worrying about me and mine. Well, you've been on the line, dying. My reflection hides myself as pretty as everyone else. My time to buy, my time to sell. Baby, I'm trying. But you can't help but feel alone when everything you've ever known was something breathing down your neck. Brimstone and fire coming for your head. So I thought I'd mess up my mind. Someone said it might open my eyes. But all in all that I lost was a Wednesday. Back when I was just 16, burdened by my fantasies. Band of horses on a trampoline. Guess it'll come back someday. But you can't help but feel alone when everything you've ever known something breathing down your neck. And fire coming for your head. Can't stand your couch, I can't stand your bed. Oh, these lost years, you ain't lost yet. Oh, these lost years, you ain't lost yet.
All right, thanks, Young Ritual, for blessing us with those tunes. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Yeah,
First time since February.
Yeah, it's been since February. This is going to be weird because I'm going to be talking to this camera and you, and I have these. This isn't an advertisement for Beats, but I can hear nothing else. So if you don't want to hear anything in your life, these are the headphones to go with.
Cool ad, yeah.
So I love the new single. It's great.
Thank you.
I'd love to know about your process with that, and maybe just like what has quarantine songwriting been like for you?
Yeah. So Together Alone is pretty cool because that's a song that I probably wrote some bare bones of maybe a year before it ever got used in any sort of live setting. And then back in November of last year, again when things were normal, I had a headliner show out in Pontiac, Michigan. And I really needed to fill out, 45 minutes at least. So it started to like get back into the fold, and me and the boys in the band, my buddy Sam Moore, my buddy Shane Shaw, we just kind of started hitting every week practices for probably like 2 months up until it just working out songs, letting them settle. And that just was absolutely the song that stuck out of the pack. I feel like it accomplishes a lot of what I like to do lyrically. Mm-hmm. Like, if a song that I write isn't lyrically interesting to me, and if I don't feel like, not that it's the finest lyrical song anyone's ever written, but like, if I don't feel like I wrote something that only I could write, then I feel like I missed something. Like I always try to keep my identity in my music because that's like the only true superpower I feel like an artist has is themselves. But yeah, it's like it's been weird for quarantine stuff. I've been writing quite a bit, but I don't know if you feel like this. But it's been hard to write because I get into ruts. What new and exciting thing is happening? You know,
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to write COVID-19 songs, and my life is pretty stagnant on a day-to-day basis.
Yep. Yeah,
So that's been-
I had a conversation with our mutual friend Jason from Michigander about this on this show, about how it's so hard to write a song about being in quarantine, even though we're all feeling it, because by the time you release it, hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll be out of this, and people will be like, "Man, it's such a dated thing." And then
Yeah.
he talked about how Phoebe Bridgers' new album, which was, I'm assuming, written and recorded pre-quarantine,
Yeah.
it feels like it was written about quarantine. And it was like, that's what we're going to look back on and think about those records that came out during this time, not necessarily what was written.
It's probably a great advantage to people like myself that write sad songs.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it just fits as a period piece for maybe once every year or so something tragic happens and people are like, oh man, that must have been about that.
You're like, yeah, it totally was.
Yeah, cash in on the sadness, you know,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about out there.
So one of the questions we like to ask artists is, I think there's this outside perspective that particularly those who write sad songs, that you sort of go away into your cabin in the woods and like take your vow of silence, or at least you're not paying attention to the outside world, and then you sort of emerge with this single or a record, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what's been happening in the world? But that's just not really the case. Not only are we, probably also addicted to our phones like anyone else, but we're also
Sweet
listening to
yourself.
music and watching movies and interacting with various different art. So I'm curious, what are you listening to or watching right now that is just really giving you life and inspiring your art?
Yeah, so it's difficult for me because I'm also a very politically engaged person. So I consume a lot of news media, a lot of political media, like my routine in quarantine routine. So wake up, get coffee, and then I just start reading articles in the New York Times. That's like usually how I kick off the day. So like that is not super helpful and inspiring a lot of the times. It's informative and good, but it's not that way. The thing that's been really useful for me is like new records that are coming out. Again, Phoebe's record has been huge for me. That new Matt Berninger record has been huge for me. But also like finding ways to escape into something that isn't so... I don't do a lot of absurdly escapist stuff, but like I've been watching a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and that's just made me feel better to be like away from that. And almost like digging into that and having a laugh and then going away from that is like a good clean slate for your mind. It just feels like it like dusts you off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can like feel... I think it's funny that you said the thing about go off to the cabin in the woods or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't write well when I'm in like dire straits and isolated. I like write months after that about that time.
Yeah.
So when I'm in it, I don't do a great job of that. So it's better for me to like find these avenues of like artists that are making music that I can relate to and I can fit into, or like shows to escape into.
Yeah.
Because that just like lets me feel like I can attack something. When I'm in my own mind, I just want to stare at this guy.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to use the word escape. Like I think we have that sense, and I sense this when you're talking of. I have a buddy who works for Celebration Cinemas, and he talks about when we often think that we escape into films or into a record, but in reality, sometimes those things are working in our subconscious of like helping us make sense of our own lives. So the example he uses is like the 14-year-old whose parents are going through a divorce may want to go to the Avengers movie to escape the pain of his life, but in reality, like Iron Man is helping him make sense of his parents' divorce or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, thinking about Curb or like those shows that feel like this is just silly. In some ways, at least when I watch them, is like a means of making sense of how to, like, when the world sucks and makes no sense, like, how do I laugh at it? Like, those sort of shows can make, so that's cool. Speaking of sort of political engagement, I'm curious, as you think about this season, it would not be a stretch to say that we are a culture in crisis. And what would you say is the responsibility of artists in a culture in crisis?
To avoid feeling self-righteous. I had a conversation with, funny again, our mutual friend Jason Singer. We chatted the other day on Instagram Live about like the importance of voting and all that stuff. And something that I really felt like my eyes were opened up to recently was that younger voters or younger people get guilted for not voting. It's like, yeah, you know what? If you don't vote, then you can't complain. So if, you know, I don't want to hear anything for the next 4 years or whatever. When in reality, that's not very motivating for people. Like, people want a reason to vote that's like, and get engaged in something because they can see something good coming out of it. And not like, I have to check this off the list, otherwise I'm going to get made fun of or something like that. So I feel like I've spent a good section of time trying to have conversations with people that are conversations about what do you care about. Like, you can look at the world right now and say, yeah, this is a crisis. There's like a 5 or 6 really important crises. I was like thinking about that yesterday, and I said, what's the thing that's like most important to tackle first? I feel like in most people's mind it's like the virus, because the virus is, you know, affecting everyone's day-to-day life, but like that is attached to a million different already existing problems. I think we've like heard that, right? Like the virus coming into communities has shown us so many weak spots and crises that are easy to ignore until that happens. So I just feel like I've spent a fair amount trying to have those conversations with people, because I think that maybe an artist at the end of the day is supposed to reflect the world around them. And sometimes you can like guide people into something, but for the most part, it is like having a conversation with someone. You're just doing it in a different medium. So like, I definitely write some songs that have political bents at times, but it's not with the goal of persuading anybody. It's just like, this is something that matters to me. And maybe this matters to you too. Maybe you haven't considered it from this viewpoint. Maybe you don't agree with me. But like, maybe you can engage with that humanity, because I think anyone you talk to right now, even though they might have a disagreement on what that is, would say, yeah, things are not going so hot at the moment.
That's a fascinating point of view to say, like, it is what you said, like, it's sort of the role of the artist to be the like representative to the, I don't know, not that you're necessarily like your art is sort of feeding back into the community that you're trying to represent, but also like to sort of the part of us that listens to music that may not be able to express our sadness or our anger or whatever. Like, you're sort of suggesting that it is the songwriter's job to help people express that.
I mean, that's like why I started this project. It was like more narrow. It wasn't like it really started as kind of the idea that it would be more of like a political punk project, which is funny to say. When I started it, you know, I'm from the Flint area, and there was a water crisis going on, and everybody was really angry and really sad. And my first song I ever released was on a compilation to raise money for Flint kids in the middle of the water crisis. So like, that stuff has always been important to me, but I never really considered it broadening to the point of like that I would keep growing into things. And I feel like that's just, I understand humanity and my friends and my loved ones better now than I did at the start of things. I feel like while my opinion isn't the end all of anything, like every other human, it has value, and this is the way that I can give my voice and my opinion on something.
That's cool. last question. So this is a question we've been asking folks for way before I was around here. And obviously this has changed because you're not playing many live shows, if any live shows.
No, I've really picked up in shows in the last 7 months. It's like, scary. Really, actually horrifying.
What makes an audience a good audience at a Young Ritual show?
That's a good question. Well, as you know, this might be a little thornier when at some point shows come back, but a big shtick of mine is to like go and engage in the audience. I know you like to do that too.
Yeah, you do a Bono thing though, where you walk out and you are touching people.
You just got to do that. Yeah, I swing from that red circle that Bono swings from, in the U2 360 tour. I usually do that. No, it's like I go out there. I feel like a good crowd for me is a crowd that is willing to kind of take it all in. Like, I think it's expected to, when you like go out into the crowd, to have some people get apprehensive and weird, and like I'm always going to respect people's space, but also like the people that you see their like face light up, like, oh, this dude's going for it. Those are the people that I lock onto, and I'm like, thank you for acknowledging that what I'm doing is kind of terrifying. And you can like at least put yourself in the shoes of like, he's really trying.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a place for different, types of performance, and they can be engaging in different ways. But like, to me, I like to go out and connect with people like that. So if you're like wanting to pay attention and not ease your way all the way to the back of the room, then I feel like that's a good crowd for me.
There you go. Well, now you know what to do at the next Young Ritual show, hopefully in the
2023.
2023. Yeah. The new single is called Together Alone. You can stream it wherever you stream music. We'll also link it down below. Thanks for being with us, Dylan. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, you too.